Well, hello, church. Welcome to the Rewind. We are all the way through James chapter 3 in our Life According to Jim worship series. 2 weeks ago, we were talking about the words in which we speak, and James gives us a warning at the beginning of chapter 3. He says, be careful about the way in which you use your words. Be careful about your ability to control your tongue, because if we can't control our tongue, then we are not going to be able to control any other area of life. It all begins right there with our tongue and our words. It determines the type of leader we're going to be. It determines the type of relationships we're going to have. It determines whether we're going to enter into genuine, authentic worship before God, because life, according to Jim, says there must be consistency in the way in which we speak to others and the way in which we speak to God. Last week, we went to the back end of James chapter 3. We moved from a conversation of words to a conversation of wisdom. And again, James tells us that we need to be careful about where we seek wisdom, where we're searching for wisdom. And we need to understand that wisdom is not so much about what you know, but wisdom is something that you do. And it's a gift that comes from God. We're going to rewind that message. We're going to answer your questions. We're going to do that right now.
Will God really give us wisdom if we ask Him for it?
I know, it almost sounds too simple, doesn't it? My first response to that is, have we even tried that? Have we even asked God for wisdom? Have we even involved Him in the conversation? My second response, I think this is where James is going, it's a little deeper in chapter 3 as he closes that chapter out. He's leading us to this idea and this issue of control. We like to have control over things, control over situations and solutions of questions and answers, and where James is leading us is to relinquish control, turn all of that over to God, allow Him to have control over that, and you and I assume a posture and a position to where we can receive the answer, we can receive the wisdom, we can receive the solution to whatever it is that we're needing and whatever it is that's going on in our life. But it's about turning that control over to God and assuming a posture of reception as we allow for God to speak into our lives. Now here's the problem. When we ask for wisdom or we ask God to move in our lives, a lot of times we want Him to do it right then. And we got to realize that we have to be patient. We didn't get into the situation overnight. Most of the time, we're not going to get out of it overnight, but we're involving God in the conversation. We're turning all of the control over to Him. We're receiving the goodness and the mercy and the blessing and the answer and the solutions from Him, the wisdom that He is leading into our lives. And He is going to lead us out of wherever it is that we are. But we've got to assume that place, that posture, and that position as we ask Him to move inside of our lives. Remember, James says it in chapter 1, verse 5. If we ask Him, He will give us that answer.
James says envy and selfish ambition are enemies of wisdom. How do we overcome these?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'd probably say, number one, start serving others. And number two, start thinking about other people. Because when you do that, it gets your focus off of you and it puts it on other people. And when you begin to discipline yourself in that type of spiritual development, it's going to lead you to places like humility and generosity, and that is the environment in which wisdom lives in. Remember, wisdom is not what you know. Wisdom is what you do. So start serving others, start thinking about other people. It will take you on a spiritual journey to a place of wisdom.
Why does James in chapter 3 saying peacemakers who sow in peace raise a harvest of righteousness?
Yeah, what James is doing at the end of chapter 3 is he's establishing a new reality. It's a wisdom reality that bridges are being built out of wisdom and peace reigns. Bridges that are being built between you and others, between others and God, between you and God. And when you dedicate your life to that, the end result is you raise up a harvest of righteousness in the life of other people, in your life, and in the life of the kingdom. And the way chapter 3 ends in that line is he's showing us the result of wisdom. It raises up a harvest of righteousness. So be wise. Well, there you go, church. That's the rewind for this week. Remember, be strong, be encouraged, be blessed, be wise, and we'll see you again on Sunday. Have a great week.